Hi there, this is Bridget from the PlannerSpeechie. Welcome. Today I am going to be planning using this really cute kit called Detective from the Pink Planner shop. I printed and cut these sheets myself, so any jagged edges like that, for example, like that just comes from me cutting. Anyway, so this is obviously detective kit. I'm choosing it to be like a Law and Order SVU type situation. So we've got lots of really fun sort of detective things here. I really like this washi. And then the colors are kind of fun. This blue is kind of interesting along with all the gray. Stands out a little bit. I like the thumbprint patterns here, and then we have some additional pictures, some full boxes, some headers, and I also printed this extra fashion girl as well. So I have these really cute crime I can't remember, I think I got this for a different kit, but this foil is called Corn. It's like a very, very light matte gold. So I thought it kind of looked like crime scene tape. And so I am going to use this on the washi over here. So it's like extra crime scene tape. But I also have these chunky gold underlays from Scribble Prints Co. and just some leftover bundle stuff from Scribble Prints Co. that I thought would be fun to use. So yeah, I am going to, let's see if I can get everything in order. I am going to speed things up and come back in a voiceover. Hi there, welcome back to another Plan with Me. So I originally was going to use a different kit for this week, and I changed it because I started watching Law and Order SVU in a big way. I was rewatching it, so these were all cases that I knew the outcome, I knew what was going to happen, so it was low stakes anxiety for me. I actually got all the way to season, I think 11 or 12, and that's when I kind of dropped off the show. I think once Stabler left, I just kind of stopped watching it as much. And I do like the new detectives. I think they're very good. I say new, they've been on the show for like 10 years now. But yeah, no, they're excellent. But it got to the point where I couldn't remember how the cases were solved, and then it became actual anxiety, and I couldn't really binge it the same way that I had been before, if that makes sense. So I did eventually switch to Schitt's Creek, Shrinking, other true crime shows that were actual true crime, but they were snippets, rather than this sort of binge format that I was on. This was also the week that I was doing stimulation medications. This is a trigger warning for IVF, things like that. So if you're not interested in that, I don't talk about it a ton, but there are references to it throughout this plan with me. Um, I also, and looking at that particular picture is not the best, but I tried not to use a lot of the images that had weapons because that can be a little triggering or scary for some people. It's not my favorite thing. So, um, and I did use the version of Stabler that came with this kit. I'm just calling him Stabler. Um, I was really excited about, look how good that looks in Corn. So Corn is the name of the foil. It's a very bright matte gold. So the 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 word corn makes it sound like it's a different thing, but actually it just was so perfect for this particular kit. So if you're doing this bundle with crime or anything like that, corn is definitely the way to go. Um, but yeah, so this was a crazy week. I didn't really do a lot of much of anything. I am currently on summer break from my job as a school speech language pathologist. I decided not to work this summer, and I am privileged enough to be able to do that because I was visiting family, and then I was also doing some of these medical procedures over the summer, and my schedule was so inconsistent that I didn't feel comfortable taking on a caseload where I would have to be serving kids on a regular basis. I just don't think that was ethical at this point in time. So we'll see what next summer looks like. But for now, yeah. So I'm just using some of the extra chunky gold overlays that I had from the Scribble Prints Co. foil bundle, and then I just used some of the extras just on the top. I didn't have enough to do all of them, but it was still fun. And I believe in using your stuff. Like, use your stuff. Don't save it forever. It's not worth it. And the sticky does disappear. I didn't really know where to put some of those little things that came with it, the washi, so I put them there, and I think that came out really, really well. And I didn't have a reason to use the washi that came with the foil bundle. Not a huge fan of the bows anyway, but the gold really popped with these darker colors, and so I think that was a wise choice. Anyway, I am going to get back into it to do the day by day, so please stay tuned for that, and I will slow things down. But yeah, this deco was actually really cute, and I loved using it. I tried to use as much of it as possible, and I think I used absolutely every piece except for the GUN. So anyway, all right. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. All right, so let's get into the day by day. The first thing I'm going to mark is that I watched Law and Order Special Victims Unit. You're gonna see this a lot because this is the week that I binged it completely. And when I say a lot, I mean I watched it for several hours at a time. So don't judge me. But yeah, go ahead and judge me. So I talked to my doctor and I was like, oh, I'm gonna start taking what's that? Zinc. And I did not think about the fact that just because it's an over-the-counter supplement does not mean that it doesn't have side effects. And unfortunately, this did for me. So I took the supplement with breakfast, and as I was sitting there on the couch watching Law and Order and just kind of like easing into the day, I realized that I was starting to feel awful, nauseated, wretched, and what I didn't realize is that you can actually overdose on zinc, in addition to feeling rotten. And so it turns out that the 50 milligrams of zinc that I took was in addition to the other vitamins I was already taking, which I'd already taken. My zinc was also included in that vitamin. So I basically poisoned myself a little bit. It was a light poisoning. I didn't really do a lot, but so it was really bad. It was so bad that I was doubled over in pain and I didn't know what I was going to do. So then my husband, who is the best person in the world, literally the best person in the world, was like, no problem, I'm just going to get you some drugs. And so this is a really good thing to know. If you are sick and let's say one partner can't go anywhere, or you don't have a partner and you need medicine quickly, you can get medicine delivered that you would buy over the counter from Uber Eats. And so my husband did some Pepto recon for me, and it really helped. I felt so much better afterwards. So yeah, that was absolutely necessary, but I just felt so disgusting. So the next thing I'm going to mark is that I basically took the Pepto and then I fell asleep. I was really tired. I hadn't slept real well the night before, and so while I was sleeping, I actually got a call from my mom. So I called her back and we chatted, And the conversation got a little heated, so I wasn't in the best of places. Let me just put it that way. But lucky for me, it was Thursday. And so that means that it was therapy day. So, it was Thursday. It was Monday. I'm so tired, you guys. It was Monday. So it was actually therapy day. So I have these stickers are from, I didn't say where anything was from. Okay. So this is from Once More with Love. This is from Carly Plans. This is from Carly Plans. This is from Stick with the Plan Co. And this is from the Sticker Party. Okay. So I did have therapy. Then the next thing that I'll mark is I am in the middle of an IVF cycle for egg retrieval. And that means that you have to take stimulation injections once a day, but it's several injections for different drugs. And so I have to do that in the afternoons. And then we watched The Bear. So that was my Monday. Crazy day. Okay, moving on to Tuesday. So Tuesday, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things. All right, so we're gonna use a lot of little things. The first thing I'll mark, which I'm sorry to say I had to mark it all, is that first thing in the morning, we had a power outage. Now this doesn't happen too often, but when it happens, it can be really frustrating, especially for my husband who works from home and gets up really early. So that happened first thing Tuesday morning. Thankfully, it only lasted about an hour, but it was kind of a struggle for my husband who was trying to get his work done. Okay, so then the next thing I'll mark is that I took a shower. I waited until the power came back so that I didn't have to shower in the dark, even though it was daytime. But my bathroom has a lot of great privacy in it, which means it doesn't get a lot of natural light because there's not a lot of windows. So I did do that. And then, so then the next thing that I marked, I'm just checking my bullet journal because it has been almost a month. Okay, so then the next thing I marked is that I did do some cross stitching and watched Law and Order SVU. So I'll go ahead and use, these are like little fingerprints, like someone's getting fingerprinted, which is kind of cute. And I'm going to use this mini Carly Plans pillow because I was on the couch. I just cross stitch and watch TV on the couch. Like that's kind of my thing. No worries about any of that. And so here's my Law and Order SVU from the Sticker Party. And I did have a salad for lunch. One thing, salad for dinner. One thing that I didn't mark, but I should mark it here, was that I had a normal blood pressure reading, which was really good. Oh, wait a sec. That was at the doctor. Hold on. I'm a little mixed up with my timeline. And I wanted to pull this and just move it down a little bit so it's more centered. But I did do this like all day long, if I'm being fair. Okay, so the next thing that I will mark is that I went to my doctor. So I've been having some difficulty with my blood pressure. And this is just, something everyone should be aware of. Blood pressure is a sign of stress, obviously, but sometimes there's genetic components. If you feel like you're out of breath or you feel like your heart is palpitating or fluttering, don't wait to get it checked out. It's really, really important that that you make sure that you're getting your blood pressure checked. Having a blood pressure machine in your home is actually really useful. They're not very expensive. But one of the reasons I bring this up is because if you have high blood pressure, your chances of having stroke or heart attack greatly increase. And this is one of those things where people don't really know that they're having this issue unless you take the time to check it. And if you have any disorders like generalized anxiety or depression or stress, you really want to make sure that you're checking your blood pressure, because it could be rising and you don't know it, and then it can take a minute to readjust on medication. So I did go back to my doctor and I had a good blood pressure reading. And she was like, okay, just continue to monitor it because I'm still on medication. So that was actually a month ago. So I really should continue to monitor it at home more and more. So I still do that. I did have to pop over to CVS to pick up baby aspirin because I found out that the baby aspirin that I had was expired. And it's one of those medications that I'm supposed to be taking every day. The next thing that I'll mark is that I had a salad, or actually here, I'll mark that I did my meds. So remember, I had to do those injectable meds every day. Sometimes on average, it's 3 shots per day, but sometimes it can be 4 if you run out of one of the medications because you load it into a pen. And then if the pen finishes, then you have to complete the dosage with a second shot. So sometimes I was doing 4 shots a night. Sometimes I was only doing 3. But, you do what you have to do. Okay. All right, this is going to be a tight squeeze, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think I can get it. Oh, wait, actually, I don't need that because I have the nice thing about TV Thursday stickers is that they actually, you don't really need anything else. They just rest nicely on the thing. And so we watched a bear. And what I actually need is my With Frank stickers, which I think I just kind of threw in a pile somewhere, but I can use one of my new ones that I just got placed. Okay, perfect. So I had a salad for dinner. All right, on Wednesday, the first thing I marked was that I watched Law and Order, surprise, surprise, and I cross-stitched all day. So funny story, I was supposed to have a dentist appointment on this Wednesday. I booked the appointment previous week. There are 2 new dentists in my area that have opened within the last 6 months. I booked the appointment over the phone. I didn't really get a follow-up message or anything the day before, but I was like completely sure that I had made the appointment. So I went to the doctor and I realized that, well, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So also the other thing I need to share, which is kind of gross, but anyone who's afraid will understand this. I had not been to a dentist for a proper cleaning in about 4 years. And that's a long time. I was so good. At one point, I was going every 6 months. But then COVID hit and I stopped going. And then I went once because I had an issue with my lower retainer, which they fixed, but I needed to get like a real cleaning. And then we moved, and then I never got one. So I was like, you know what? I can't keep putting this off. This is ridiculous. I'm an adult. I have to go. So I made an appointment. This was my doctor week, right? So I made the appointment. It's right next to the Publix that I shop in all the time. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll go in the afternoon, and then I'll go to Publix after, get my sushi, come home, whatever. So I go, and the receptionist, who was very sweet and very thoughtful, was like, oh, we don't have you down for an appointment at this time, but I can make one for you for another time if you want. And I was like, sure. So I was very confused, but she was very sweet and very, very nice. And so, you know, I'm like, cool, let's go to, I'll just come back because I live really, really close. It's summertime. I don't have to worry, right? So I freaking go. Actually, I can move this down. And I decide, okay, I'll go, I'm not gonna waste this time. I'm gonna go to Publix, I'm gonna get my groceries. So that was at 3. Or I actually got there at 2:45. I got there very early. So it's 3:15. I'm walking around Publix. My cart is full of perishables, frozen stuff, all the things. I'm actually about to check out, and then I get a phone call. It's from the dentist. And they say, oh, where are you? Your appointment was scheduled for 3. Are you still planning to come in? And I said, well, I was just there and you said you didn't have an appointment for me. Come to find out, I had made an appointment at a different dentist's office. Facepalm, so embarrassed, very, very embarrassed. The woman on the phone could not have been nicer. I spent all this time giving the other receptionist all of my information, but she was the one who said, hey, we can see you tonight at 6. Are you available later today? I said, absolutely. I wasn't about to, they'd already committed to me. They were willing to move me. I probably would have had to pay a fee if I hadn't shown up. So I said, yes, absolutely. So then after I paid for all my groceries, I go back to the receptionist. It's a different receptionist at the other dentist. And I explained, I said, listen, I have an appointment at this time. I can't make it. So can you please just take me off? And she was like, sure. And that was it. And I was just very, very, very embarrassed. All right, sorry. I had to talk to my husband. Okay, so I actually do have a very, I just ordered some new dentist stickers from, what's it called? From Scribble Prints Co. But they won't be here until, I just ordered them today, so they won't be here for a little while. So I am going to put a little sticker to mark that I went to the dentist, but I'm probably going to replace it with the other sticker later on. I don't know. Do you ever do that? Do you do that when you're planning and then you just go back, or like once it's on there and you never look at it again? Just curious. Okay. So then the next thing I'll mark is that I did my meds. Okay. And all right. Meds. And then we watched The Bear. Bear was so good this season. I was really happy with it. Anyway, the dentist was amazing. They had state-of-the-art machinery, equipment. Everyone was super nice to me. No one shamed me for not going to the dentist for several years, which I think was a really nice approach. They could have done things very differently and they didn't. So I really appreciated that. And I felt like they were super supportive. So I just have to say, like, really, really happy with that dentist, who is now my dentist. All right, moving on to Thursday. So Thursday was kind of a blah day. I didn't really do very much, except I did have to go to the doctor first thing in the morning. I feel like, can we just talk about this for a second? Do you see any difference between the pattern and the solid? I feel like it's like smokier, but I don't really see like a true pattern here. So that's kind of disappointing, because I would have loved to have used like a fun pattern, but all right. So the first thing I'll mark is that I went to the doctor. It looks like I tried to sleep in, but I really couldn't. Like, I had a hard time falling asleep or staying awake, staying asleep. So this pineapple is from Sweet Ava's paper, and then this is my doctor. So I went to the doctor. They had lots of follicles growing, so that meant that the stems were working. Lots of good stuff. So that was a good appointment. It was a nice outcome. I came home, and of course I started watching my Law and Order, and I also did some cross stitching. Okay. I asked the doctor to take my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was normal, which was really, really great. So I emailed her and I told her that it was normal. So that was 2 normal readings in a row, which is great. So that was the best outcome. And then the other thing that I did was I did do some Plan With Me stuff. Actually, I just need to grab this, put that here. I like using gold on dark colors because I feel like it pops so much more. And I'll just write this in. Okay. Then later in the day, I had purchased sushi the day before at Publix, and so we actually ended up just eating more of that. Here, you know what? I use one of these rounded boxes, not that you can tell the difference between the patterns and the non-patterns, but I'm trying to change things up, you know? Okay, so we're gonna go here, so that means I need that to go like that. Why does that look crooked? I don't know, I don't care, it's fine. All right, so it's funny because I'm putting this on, I'm putting that on, the script says Sushi Wednesday, but it's Thursday. Kind of funny. So then, oh, and I just realized that I did this backwards, but that's okay because the script is actually in black, so it wouldn't have shown up. So I have to put it on put it here. And then we watched, surprise, surprise, we watched The Bear. Okay. Moving on to Friday. Okay. So let's see. So Friday, the first thing that I marked is, so I fed cats, I had breakfast, and then I watched some Law and Order. And it's funny because I thought I ran out of these, but I actually didn't. But because I already pulled the stickers, I'm not going to waste them. So that is from Sweet Ava's paper. And then this script is from Carly Plans that I had custom made, which I didn't need to do because I already had those, but whatever. Okay, so Friday was a really fun day for me. The first thing I marked is that I cross-stitched and watched Law & Order. And then I went, this was my third different doctor of the week. Be proud of me. I did go to another doctor. I went to the dermatologist. Now, you're supposed to get a skin check every year after a certain age. I hadn't gotten a skin check in a very long time, but I have been having, and I'm sorry if this is like too much information, I've been having a really bad dandruff situation. And that looks like it says something else, but it says derm. And I've been using different shampoos and I can't seem to really kick it. And so the doctor was like, no problem, I'll give you a prescription one. I was like, oh. And she said, you actually are having this issue not just in your hair, but it's on the surface of your cheeks, and that's why you're having so much dry skin. So you should be using this on your face as well. And I was like, what? I got so excited because I haven't been able to wear normal makeup in months because my skin has just been peeling every time I put it on. And it's because of this condition I have. So I got this shampoo, which I'm very, very excited about, and I've been using it and it's been really amazing. So go to your dermatologist, guys. Go to your dermatologist. She also, I have a scar for my laparoscopic surgery that I had several weeks ago, and it was pretty bad. I've not had a surgery where I had a scar quite like this before. And she was like, oh, well, I can give you some cortisone shots to fix that. So I made an appointment to come back later in the month, and that she's like the best. So go to your dermatologist. Look, they are covered as specialists under your regular insurance. Just look it up. It's really, really good. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to mark, I just call it shopping, but here's the thing. It was so much more than shopping. I decided after I bought this cookbook, and I married into an Italian family, that I wanted to make a Sunday sauce. This has been on my bucket list for a very, very long time, but I've sort of been intimidated because I'm not Italian and I don't really know what I'm doing. But I found this great recipe in the cookbook that I bought. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make this sauce. And one of the things that it said was that you really need to go to a specialty Italian market to get some of these ingredients, because if you're going to put all the effort in, you might as well get better ingredients. And of course, when I lived in New York, this was not a problem. Like, I could have gone to my local bodega and probably found a lot of these ingredients, but Charlotte is not caught up to the Italian scene. So there was one Italian market that was within 10 minutes driving distance of my house. So after I went to the dermatologist, I went to this Italian market. I also went to a little place called Paper Skyscraper, which had just opened a version. I go there all the time. It's like a stationery store, kind of like Paper Source, but with local products. And it was so cute. But the thing is, and this is the problem with Paper Source, once you go there regularly enough, you get to know all of their merchandise, and then it's kind of the same thing over and over and over again. So that's kind of how I felt going to Paper Skyscraper. I didn't find a birthday card for Frank that I liked. I didn't find anything that I wanted to get, so I didn't get anything. But I did get a lot of good stuff at Fertucci's. I probably spent over $100. But I got fresh pasta. I got pre-made sauce, which did not have meat in it. I bought guanciale. I bought Parmigiano Reggiano. I bought Pecorino Romano. I bought all of this amazing stuff, and I'm Really, really, and it was not pre-grated. It was the full block of it. So I also got my husband chicken parm sandwiches for lunch because I walked in there and it smelled so good. I couldn't walk out of there without it. So I came home and I had a great lunch with my husband. But the other thing that I marked was that I made dinner, and I made fresh cavatelli pasta with this delicious sauce that I did not make, but it was so, so good. So I am going to mark that. Oops. So I have to mark some other things, but I'm using the farfalle pasta icon from Scribble Prints Co. because it came from this pasta sheet of stickers that I have. Actually, wait a second. Before I say that, I don't want to say. So that's Carly Plans. It might actually have been Carly Plans. Hold on. Now you're getting a preview of all of my food stickers, which I need to reorganize because they're all kind of a mess right now. And this, I need to separate cooking from foods, from desserts. Like everything is just kind of in a big old pile. And that should actually go in a different spot. We've got McDonald's. Oh my gosh, so much stuff here. But I know I have this sheet. Okay. No, it's not. That's all breakfast foods. At one point I had this completely organized. Okay, wait, there it is. Okay, so I'm sorry. This is from Carly Plans. It is not from Scribble Prints Co. And this was a pasta dishes. So it has penne, ravioli, farfalle, it looks like shrimp and linguine, and then all of them are up there. I used to love farfalle. I don't really eat it as much anymore because it's not very traditional. It's more of an American thing, to be honest. It looks pretty. So I did not make that. I made cavatelli, but cavatelli is like smushed little pockets of love. They're so good. Okay, moving on. I'm sorry, this plan with me is taking a long time because I'm talking a lot. All right, so the next thing that I'll mark is that I did my meds. And both of those scripts are from Carly Plans as well. And they are font choice 1, which is my favorite of all the font choices that she has. This is technically a duo in one. So then I watched The Bear with my husband. And then the last thing I'll mark is my friend Lynette, who I love so much. She was like, hey, have you seen the Aristocats? And I said, no, I actually haven't. So she was like, well, we need to watch it together. So we did. So that sticker is from Pink Diamond Planner Co. And then that is a custom. All right. Oh, this is looking so cute. All right. Moving on to Saturday. And this was one of the best Saturdays I have ever had, ever. So we're going to enjoy this. And unfortunately, I have to use gray to mark all of this stuff. All right, the first thing I will mark is that I made avocado toast for my husband. So this script is from Planahannah. And I did have a wax appointment scheduled for this afternoon, but my husband, like while I'm sitting on the couch, he goes, hey, so would you be interested in going to a book sale at a library with me? Because I saw that they were doing something this weekend. Do you want to go? And I lost my mind. I was like, yes, let's go do it. So I went and I looked. I was going to cancel the appointment. And then I realized that they had an opening in 15 minutes. So it was 8 o'clock. The appointment was it was 8:15. The appointment was at 8:30. I was like, let's go. So I went and it was amazing. So my husband is the sweetest man in the world because he took the time to A, find out that this was happening, and B, he wanted to go. And that just made me so happy. So this library card sticker is from the sticker party. So he took me to this book sale. They had beautiful books, like brand new New York Times bestsellers from this year books, in paperback and hardcover. And I did buy them and they were great. Frank remarked on how cool the library was. He thought it was really nice, and it was. And then we got coffee and bread and confections at this little cozy coffee shop that was like right nearby. So that is from Carly Plans. I forget the name of this restaurant. I have it here. It's written in my bullet journal. Copan. So we had coffee and bread and pastries. I bought a loaf of bread that we were supposed to just eat at home. And Frank wanted to eat it right away. And I did not stop him because that is a brilliant idea. And it was so good. So then I am hanging out at home with my guy. And he was like, let's order some stuff. And then I got a text from my girlfriends in the neighborhood, who I adore. Met them through our local book club, but they are my neighbors. And they said, do you want to come out with us? We're going to dinner, and then we're going to this brewery. And I was like, oh, well, we just ordered dinner, but I can meet you at the brewery, which is perfect because I have to take these meds at the same time every day. Otherwise, they don't, the efficacy is not as strong. So it was better that I didn't go to dinner with them because they were going to be sitting, like we would have been seated when I needed to take the medication. So I took the meds and then I went and met them at the brewery, which was the cutest freaking place I've ever been. Holy cow. It was called King Canary Brewery in Cornelius. It was so much fun. See, this sticker is so big. I don't even know where to... but that's from Stick with the Plan Co. So, King Canary. We had such a blast, and the food was so good. And then afterwards, my neighbor was like, oh, the boys are already hanging. So while I went out with the girls, my husband hung out with the husbands, and they just had such a good time. So they were already like tipsy by the time we got home. And I only had one normal beer, and then I switched to non-alcoholic beer because I didn't want to drink too much. The doctor said I could, but it's better when you're doing these stimulation meds not to get hammered or anything, so one beer was fine. But then I did switch to non-alcoholic beer, and so I offered to drive everybody else back to her house. And so I did that. And so, well, that is like very sideways, but oh, wow, I was able to pick it up. So we hung out at their house, and it was so much fun. I think we were there until pretty late. I think actually I stayed No, I can't remember. I can't remember how late we stayed, but it was fun. We had a good time. It was like the perfect Saturday. Perfect Saturday. And I got to brag to my girlfriends about how my husband took me to a book sale earlier that day. And they were like, oh, yeah. So anyway, best husband ever. Okay. So on Sunday, the first thing I will mark is that I did finish my book. I was reading Park Avenue by Renee Ahdieh, and I did finish it in the morning. I always sleep with my Kindle next to me because my husband sleeps a little later than I do, and so it's the perfect, but it's also like the perfect anti-anxiety for insomnia tool because you can read in the middle of the night and not disturb anyone, and it doesn't mess with your blue light system because it's not a blue light system. But I was like, I was like reading new books, and finishing new books is very satisfying. So, all right, so the next thing I will mark, and I'll use like this fun little caution tape, is that I had breakfast. We had eggs in a blanket that my husband made. He always cooks breakfast on Sunday mornings. And then, this was the greatest thing ever, I made Sunday sauce. So I followed this incredible recipe, but it was going to take 4 hours to make. So I started making it, I want to say around maybe 11:45. And so that sticker is Stick with the Plan Co. And it is perfect. I was not wearing an apron. It's the only thing. But I did buy a giant pot of sauce, just a sauce pot just for this event. And now I did this thing where I don't actually have, oh, how funny, look. This was a pattern, but it cut the pattern off. And it looks funny because it's black. It's supposed to be yellow. I'll use this one, I guess, instead. All right. So the next thing I'll mark, it says call mom on the script, but I FaceTime my parents every Sunday. So I don't have a script for that, and I really should have had one made. And I don't know why I didn't, but I do have those already made, so. And I will use this little flag to mark TV time. Okay. And this little TV is from Carly Plans. And I don't remember what we watched. It's probably Blue Bloods, Law and Order, something like that. And then the very last thing that I'll mark is that I did my meds. We did have this incredible dinner. So the dinner was so good. Of course, it's upside down wording because I had to flip it to the other side, but that's okay. The sauce was amazing. I did a really nice job with it. I also made coletta in addition to the sauce, which is like a chicken cutlet. And it was really good. I was very proud of myself. I also didn't mark it here, but we started watching The Gilded Age. And that is the full week. So I'm going to go ahead and put that into the planner. And then it will come all together. I think it looks really great. Some of my extra character stickers. Okay. So now we can zoom out so you can see the full spread in my planner. Yeah, this was really fun. I think this came together really nicely. I'll just show you some of the leftover stickers that I have. So we've got our solids. I use a lot of these gray flags. This was not as exciting. And I did use more of these like little pattern boxes than I usually do. So anyway, this is how everything came out. And I think the gold was a good choice for this. But anyway, stay tuned for the next Plan With Me, and I will see you next time. Bye.